Today we're going to talk about a unique sake brewery. The brewery name is Tsuchida. Tsuchida is located in Gunma Prefecture. What makes this sake brewery very unique from some of the others is that they embrace the traditional methods of making sake. Today with sake you've got modern equipment and lots of innovation. This brewery, however, kind of embraces the traditional methods, and they do not rely on the modern equipment as much. Instead, they rely on the toji and the toji's palate. This toji is rather unique. He's rather young for a toji. He's 34 years old. He got his sake chops by working in Aramasa, very famous brewery in Akita. His team of brewers are average age of like 27 or 28. So everybody's mostly in their 20s. So you've got this combination of a traditional brewery with the palates of a younger generation. It really yields a very unique product. One of their criteria is that it's a very natural product. They do not incorporate anything that is manufactured. All their sake from Tsuchida, they're always going to be Kimoto style, and they're always going to be junmai. So what that means, if it's a junmai, there's no distilled alcohol added to the sake. And if it is a Kimoto, that means that it's a natural type of yeast. They use the in-house ambient yeast to make sake. So it's not yeast that was manufactured in a laboratory environment. Another one of their philosophies is that they do minimal rice polishing. A lot of times I think people get caught up in the rice polishing ratios, and they kind of associate that with the quality of the sake. If you have a skilled toji and someone that really knows what they're doing, polishing the rice just a little bit can actually provide some like rounder, earthier type flavors. And that's what a lot of these will be. They're very unique. They will have some of the specifications that are really off the charts in the sake industry. Some of their sake meter values will be extremely high or either negative. Their acidity levels considerably higher than most sake as well. The philosophy of this brewery is very unique. If you've tried sake, you probably haven't tried something like this. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of these bottles. The first bottle I'm going to talk about is a very unique sake. The label you can see has the number 99 on that. So what that 99 indicates is that is the percentage of koji rice that is used to make this sake. So when you make sake, you use two forms of rice. You have regular steamed rice, and then you use koji rice. And the koji rice usually makes up about 20% of the rice that's used for a batch of sake. So instead of 20% koji rice, they use 99% koji rice. This is yielding a flavor that's going to be very robust. As a matter of fact, if you were drinking this sake blindfolded, you would probably have a hard time identifying that it's actually sake. It drinks a little bit more like an after-dinner drink, more like a sauterne. Another unique specification on this sake is the sake meter value. The sake meter value for this one is minus 36. And just to put things in perspective, the normal range for the sake meter value for most sakes is between -5 and +5. High is dry when you talk about this number. So we're talking about a -5, that would definitely be something that drinks on the sweet side. So a minus 36, really off the charts here. So it's very sweet. This sake is great at the end of a meal or as a nightcap. Next up, let me talk to you about the green bottle. So if you like sour foods and you like high acidity, you're really going to like this. This is a unique sake, just like most of their products. The alcohol level on this is relatively low. It's only 11%, whereas most sake falls around 16%. The sake meter value, it's very similar to the previous one that I just mentioned. It's actually minus 34. The red bottle, the red label bottle is minus 36. However, they're very different from each other because of the acidity level. The acidity level on this is considerably high. It's 6.0. So most sake, the acidity level lands around between 1 and 2. And here we're talking about a sake that's at 6. So that slight variation of the acidity level, even though it's 2 points, it's quite significant, and it will taste completely different than the sweeter sake that I mentioned previously. The next one I'm going to talk about is the black label sake. It's a Yamahai. As I mentioned, all sake produced by Tsuchida are junmai and Kimoto. So the cousin of the Kimoto is the Yamahai. And really what distinguishes the difference between a Yamahai and the Kimoto is that the Yamahai, they do not do the pole ramming method for the yeast starter. This Yamahai, it's a very traditional type of a Yamahai, has lots of lactic acid. And what makes this really unique is that it is made with a Bodai moto. And what that is, that goes back to the ancient days of making sake. When monks would make sake, they used this raw rice to actually make the yeast starter. So today, a lot of brewers do not trouble themselves with that because it takes a lot more time and effort. and there's a lot of technology that brewers have embraced today. So this actually will have a very earthy type of a yamai, very traditional, has lots of lactic acid, great with food. I highly recommend the sake if you are into grilled meats and grilled fish. It's a perfect combination with that. The next bottle we're going to talk about is the white label. And this is probably the most mainstream of all the sake that Tsuchida produces. What makes the sake really unique is that it's milled to 90%. So only 10% of the rice was polished for this sake. The sake meter value is -8. It also has a good bit of acidity. So it does not drink very sweet. It's a little bit more balanced. It's a great food sake. And finally, the last bottle I'm going to talk about is the Tsuchida M Label Edition. This is one of their limited sakes. It's a Junmai Kimoto. If you're a wine lover, this is an easy crossover into the sake world. So this is a sake that pairs up very well with a lot of food. It's got that acidity. It's a little bit more wine-like as far as the characteristics. It's got a little hint of sweetness as well. And this is a sake that actually would pair up with a lot of Western cuisines. If you'd like to try some of these very unique sake, check out the link below and join me in Yokohama and we can share some of these sake. See you soon.